Most of us are familiar with the game, Where's Waldo? Well, today we're going to play another game. Where's Pauline? Where's Pauline? Well, that really seems to be the question when you look at this photo. No, this isn't Buford. This is a reconstruction where the TBI went out, found their tallest agent, who was about the same height as Buford, put him in a car, and had him simulate what Buford's description of the ambush was that morning, where he had his left foot out on the ground, had his right foot in the car, and he was leaning over and looking directly at Pauline when she was shot in the forehead. So do you see her here? Where is Pauline is the question. Pauline was only 5'4" to 5'5" tall. Buford, on the other hand, was 6'6" tall. Quite a bit of a difference there, wouldn't you agree? Well, when you put a shooter seated across the road in another vehicle, firing shots, this is the picture that you get from the way that Buford described the ambushes that occurred when he said that Pauline was struck directly in the forehead when he was looking straight at her. Now, how can that be? Well, if you're looking for Pauline, here she is, seated right next to Buford. So how was she shot in the forehead? Makes you wonder. Why would Buford make such a statement that she was shot in the forehead when he should have known how easily it would have been to prove that to be a false statement, because entrance wounds and exit wounds look entirely different? But yet, he made the statement that he did, that he was looking directly at Pauline when she was shot in the forehead. Then he says that he was shot in the chin, at which time that he fell on top of her. He was unconscious for a little while. He doesn't know how long, but he states that when he came to, he looked over. The Cadillac was still there. The gunman still had the gun hanging out the window that it had jammed, had a shell casing apparently, caught as it was trying to eject. Buford claimed he got out of the car, ran across the road, grabbed the barrel of the rifle, and he lost his grip as the car started its engine and drove away. Now, does any of that story make sense to you? Is there anything about it that sounds like it really could be true? Just from the way he described it, we've got an example, and this is a reconstruction of what the TBI did to see if that were even remotely possible, and I don't believe it was. The thing that most people forget is that this case is made up of a lot of pieces of information. This is just one of them. The gun is one, his statement is another, the chain of events as they occurred in the hours before the ambush is yet another factor. There are so many factors here, but yet people want to say that the TBI made all this up just so that they could prove Buford was not the hero that many people believe he was. But yet no one has really been able to establish a good motive, about why the TBI would do this, why that the district attorney general would become involved in such a slander campaign against someone who is known as a hero. And it doesn't explain how that they got all of these witnesses, a number of forensic scientists, to all go along with their little charade. That's how desperate some people get when they want to believe a lie, especially when it's about a legend. What people need to understand is that Buford was not the person they saw in the Walking Tall movies. He could be mean, be cruel, and people like Ann Henderson learned that the hard way. We've heard stories about how Buford would abuse Pauline, but then there's also times where Ann would say that he abused her as well. She was afraid of him. She said his looks would change, that his demeanor would change. But yet, he would buy her jewelry, all kinds of gifts, and eventually they had a falling out. She even said that Buford offered Ray Blanton $60,000 to become the director of public safety for the state of Tennessee. That's scary. So, we're going to get into all that here shortly, and it'll be interesting. I guarantee it. There is so much about this story that is just absolutely fascinating, and just a whole lot to learn. At any rate, I just wanted to remind everybody that we are coming up on the holidays, and like everybody else, I'm wanting to take a little free time. So my videos are not going to be quite as long as usual, and may not be as often. Just depends on my schedule and when I have time to work on that. I'll get back to it after the holidays, and we'll get started back again. Just keep your eye on my YouTube channel, on my Facebook page. And by the way, I hope all of you subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Facebook. I put out a lot of information over there that doesn't necessarily appear here on YouTube. So you need to keep that in mind because I post a lot of documents, photographs, things too numerous to put here. So keep that in mind. Don't forget, I have a book, Buford Pusser, The Other Story. It's a thing that got the entire investigation started. So let's close this session for now, saying, as I always do, truth has no agenda. Thanks for watching. And we finally got justice for Pauline.